apologize in advance. This is going to be a crappy video. I showed you guys how to install an AR trigger, so I violated YouTube's terms, I guess, and got my first strike. Talk about censorship? Okay. So this video is going to be a much watered down version of what it was before, but I'm putting it back up there because a lot of you guys really liked the result of the build. So essentially I'm just going to be cutting out the parts where I showed you how everything was assembled, and we'll go from there. So sorry again, it was a lot better before, but I'm going to make do with what I have left and kind of cut it down and make it YouTube friendly, whatever the fuck that means. Search twerk. I implore you, search twerk and see how much nasty shit comes up, but me showing you how to install a fucking trigger. Full disclosure, you guys, as per usual and as is my style, I kind of went all out in this build, and everything is kind of top shelf, overly expensive. And if I'm being completely honest, and before anyone else can say it, no, you don't need to put this much energy or effort into a 10-inch or 10.5-inch or 12-inch or 14.5-inch or even a 16-inch build, because realistically, how accurate is the 5.56 cartridge anyways? And I'm not going to get into internal and external ballistics on this, but you can overbuild the crap out of 5.56 or 223. Is it really necessary? In my opinion, no, it's not. This is where the bench rest shooters are going to come in and say, well, you know, my blah, blah, blah. That's great. The philosophy behind all of my videos is we're using these guns for anti-human, not anti-paper. But it's also fun to be able to have really accurate groups on paper. At minimum, we're looking for 6 inches at 300 yards. And we're using the 6-inch thing for terminal triangle or a headshot. There, I said it. I don't ever pretend like we're shooting at zombies. I don't ever pretend like this is for hunting or like we're just building this to punch holes in paper. This is for punching holes in humans. That is the philosophy of this gun. Further philosophy on this gun. You want something that is going to have the hit of your AR-15, but you can't have a loaded rifle in your vehicle. You cannot conceal one. You can't walk around with one in your backpack. You can, however, walk around with a pistol. So in building an AR pistol, what are you really sacrificing by dropping that, well, in this case, 5.5 inches to be a solid 16 inches? And yes, I know, most barrels are actually 16.5 inches to tickle the ATF's pink parts and make everyone happy, but when I build a 16-inch rifle, it's exactly 16 inches. I always pin and weld. Check my Instagram, you'll see exactly how I do it. If I have a 16-inch AR, it's exactly 16.1 inches using a 14.5-inch barrel, because I don't fall into the philosophy that you need 16 inches to have accurate or fast rounds. Enough talking, let's go into the parts. First thing is first, we have to start with the receiver set. I was so impressed by Ascend Armory that I went back for another. This one doesn't come in as cool of a case, but it is what it is. Turns out the one that I got was actually limited edition the first time. Wish I would have known, I would have bought more. So here is our receiver set. Give you guys a once over of this again, or for those of you who haven't seen the other one or maybe new to my channel. So we have the recessed anti-roll pins. Again, still kind of bugs me that they are silver and everything else is black, but I kind of feel like I'm nitpicking at this point because everything else is pretty damn awesome. I really, really like the cutouts. I could go one way or another on the skeletonizing. This is what they had in stock at Rainier Arms, so that's what I went with. Pretty much ambi everything, which is super awesome. Magazine release obviously is not, as you can see. So there is the receiver set we're going to be using. So in that receiver set, obviously we're going to need a trigger. My tried and true is always Geisley. They are my absolute favorite, and more specifically the Geisley with the flat face. I really, really love flat face triggers. If you guys couldn't tell from all of my other videos, pretty much everything else is running them. Even my Glocks have semi flat face triggers, as well as my duty weapon also has a flat face. This is obviously HNC, not Geisley, but So, Geisley trigger. So on Instagram, a lot of you guys bitched about the fact that I left the standard A2 on my 308 pistol build that I did. You would think that of all of the expensive parts, that I would be into some crazy grips. Truth be told, I like the simplest, just most basic grips ever. The MOE-K is perfect for me. This is what I enjoy shooting. It's what I'm used to. It's on every single thing that I could possibly put it on. Simplicity is your friend. Like every other one of my builds, two things will always remain the same. I'll always run a Geisley trigger, and I will always run the F1 Firearms Durabolt. This is obviously the black DLC, diamond like coating, and with how much I abuse my guns, the fact that this is DLC and basically self-lubricating is nothing shy of amazing. I've never had a problem with any of my bolt carrier groups from F1. I can't say I've had many problems with any, if I'm being honest. However, these run forever before you get any malfunctions from being negligent and not cleaning your guns. And I run my guns into the ground and put thousands upon thousands of rounds through them, and usually close to 1,000 per week. So having a really rugged bolt carrier group for me is something that's pretty vital, and something that I would rely upon would definitely be F1. So that's why I went with that. So I gotta be honest, this was free. The fact that it came from V7 Weapons is just cool. Jeff Cole at Rainier Arms gave this to me as a gift because he thought it was stupid that my receiver set didn't come with one. He was like, here, just take this. And I was like, okay, thank you. Another staple of things that are usually in all of my weapons is the Radian Raptor. My favorite charging handle, and the one time I've deviated from going from Radian was when I found out that Geisley actually made a charging handle for the MCX and MPX, and it was all they had in stock. I would say they're on par. However, if it's an AR-15 or an AR-10, I'm running a Raptor in every single one of them. And again, that comes down to the whole, this is what I train with. Very familiar with this charging handle. Familiar with this bolt, very familiar with this trigger. So keeping things consistent across the board so everything feels the same, minus obviously length and weight, it's important. You're hearing my dogs in the background. You'll notice one thing the receiver set didn't come with, and they even make their own. I don't know why they don't include it and give you the option to have like the complete package, but it is what it is. We obviously need a selector. As previously mentioned, I'm going with 10.5 inch. So there is our gas tube. We'll take our cute little cover off, and this is Rainier Arms barrel. It's 223 Wild, meaning it can take 5.56 or 223. It's kind of like the new fancy nomenclature. And the other cool thing is their barrels are pre-dimpled. Thank you. Hate having to guess. I do have a jig now since my last video, but you know, it is what it is. I do like thicker barrels as opposed to pencil barrels on pistols because I get them really hot with a can, and being fluted is obviously a perk, and being shiny I kind of like. It's just an aesthetics thing. It really serves no purpose. If anything, actually, I would say having this be a polished finish would be a negative, just simply for the fact that you are now reflective. So obviously on our barrel we're going to need a gas block, and this again is from Rainier Arms. This is their adjustable gas block with adjustable bleed off, and they actually give us 2 of these stupid pins. If you guys remember from my other video, I always struggle with those, so thank you for throwing the extra one in there. And yeah, these are invaluable for running suppress. So with that said, barrel's getting hot, you need something to protect your hand. This is from V7. This is going to be the first time I've ever run one of their handguards. I gotta be honest, you guys, this is the most I've ever spent on a handguard, and the fact that it's only 9 inches is kind of like, oh my god. I really hope it's worth it. But let's tear into it and actually take a peek at it. Very, very nice machining on their barrel nut. You can see that it's just Glorious finish the whole way around. I'm going to set that in a safe spot so I don't get dog hair inside of it. So this is a tool that I can actually appreciate. This is going to be their proprietary barrel tool. However, you can see it's very, very well made, super thick, very durable looking, and not like the crap that other companies give you for their barrel tools. So that's really neat. So those are set aside. Let's see what they give us inside. So also included is our bag of parts. We have a pin. We have some set screws. So again, this is the V7 9.2 Enlightened, whatever that means. It is super light. They had a whole bunch of literature about it, about how their finish is all super crazy amazing and super strong. I don't know. How much stress do you really put on a handguard anyways? But whatever. I do really like scalloped 1913 rails, meaning they have like a slot down the center. It's just extra weight to be saved. Because you don't ever actually really use the center section of this anyways, the scalloping is something that's just a really cool afterthought, because it's a big spot to save weight. All of the hardware holes are recessed, which is nice. Should make the finish of this look really, really good. So there's our handguard. So the thing that would differentiate all of this from being a pistol to a rifle is a rifle stock. That's it. Stupid as that is, the difference is, well, a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison. So this is going to be a first for me. This is the Viper PT.1 stabilizer, and this is obviously from Strike Industries. Take a peek at it really quick. So it has its own built-in buffer, and everything is, it looks like that's going to time perfectly on my detent pin. Everything is just really, really solid built. I played with this a lot in the store. I'm actually going to take this part off so I don't shoot it across the room. Okay, so the really cool thing that I loved about this was when I'm deploying my stock on my Rattler or my MPX or anything else, you have to hold something down and pull back, or if you're lucky, you can just pull it back. On this one, you push down hard. Good Lord. There we go. Okay, so that's what it would be like collapsed, and obviously your receiver is going to sit there, and when you're ready to deploy it, I'm torquing on it, guys. It's not wiggling. A little bit of, tiny bit of movement when I do it hard. But no looseness, completely solid lockup. I'm just enamored by these guys. And for what it's worth, I've switched all of the stocks on my Rattlers to the Strike Industries stabilizer. So I've been really happy with Strike Industries, and I have no intention on changing. The only downside I could think to about this is you only get one position. I should say two. You get collapsed. Hard to do off of a rifle, sorry, pistol. And you get extended. That's it. So there is no in between. If your length of pole is not right, or if you're a whiny little, you know what, that may bug you. But anyways, that's what it'll look like. Fully extended and then collapsed. It'll look all neat and nice like that. Another big bonus for me is they come with a flat wound spring. So when they compress super small, kind of like a slinky. Most other buffer springs are round. It's just the extra steps that they take to make their product that much better. And they come with their own proprietary buffer. I can't speak to its reliability yet because obviously I haven't shot it. It's right here in front of you. A big pile of parts. I'm getting to it. So the first thing I do on everything is fitment check. And I can tell you right now that this oversized takedown pin in the rear is going to have to be changed out. unfortunately, because that's going to hit. So I couldn't find a spare takedown pin, which is a bit of a bummer, but I really like how knurled this is. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this out, take it to my grinder, and take off enough material to be able to get that stock to slide past it, and then I will eventually paint this anyway, so not a big deal. But this gives me the opportunity to show you guys kind of the innovation that goes into this receiver set. So we're going to go back to our parts kit and grab, I believe this is an 1/8 Allen wrench. And I'm going to take this to my grinder, sadly, again, and try and make it look as nice as I can, and then, again, I'll paint it, so don't you worry. Alright, so got that sorted, kind of beveled it, and again, once it's black, it'll be whatever. Not too big of a deal, I'm not losing any sleep over that. Spring is ready to go. Now what I'll do, little grub screws like that don't take much force. So what I would like to do next is, since we're already working on it, let's get our trigger installed. I will say with some companies you have to have your selector in first. Some companies it doesn't matter. Some companies you have to have your trigger in first. With Geisley, typically it doesn't matter. So we're going to be using the same Allen that we used down here. Okay, so you want to make sure, as I mentioned, I am a simpleton, and that's weird. News to me, I didn't know it did that. I do like things as simple as possible, and just the standard MOE, and again, the part number is MOE-K. I'm not sure if the K stands for Kurz, or short, as it would be in German, like 9mm Kurz is 380, for those of you who didn't know. This is going to be a 3/16 or a flathead. Obviously we are going to opt for a 3/16. Alright, got it. It wasn't as hard as I was making it look. It's a very, very, very smart design. Not a very smart builder. Let's check and make sure that all of this works. Push in. Push down, no interference. Perfect. I was actually really worried about that QD mount, but no need to worry. Okay. Again? Okay, so dust cover. If you guys saw in the video that I did for building my wife's AR, you'll know that I completely forgot to do this part. And if you put your barrel nut on and your barrel together before doing this part, you're going to have to take it all back off. And damn it. Welcome to my hell. So when everything is done correctly, you have one leg down here, your pin's going through, and you have your smaller leg against your actual receiver. Everything's under spring tension, clicks into place, and everything works. Now there's nothing that holds this other side, and the only thing that holds this pin in place is in fact your stupid barrel nut. So quick update, this is now going to be a V7 upper on top of the Ascend lower. It turns out that some of the threads on the Ascends were cut wrong. So when I went to tighten my barrel down, the barrel pin snapped and completely mangled the receiver. So just pretend that everything's still normal, that didn't happen. And that's why there's going to be a different receiver on here now. On to the show. So this right here, it's not even close to permanent. You can still get it off relatively easily. So if I need to, I can. So before you say anything stupid, it does in fact come off. Alright, pins driven through. Gas system is done. And now we just gotta chuck the handguard on. Alright, muzzle device is on. So we clearly have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that have to go in. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but my screw holes are not lined up. So what has to happen here is I either have to go looser or tighter with my barrel nut. Okay, it's not 1000% perfect, but you know what? I don't want to have to go looser and I definitely don't want to go tighter and accidentally break my barrel pin. Alright, so for the final steps of our upper, we need our charging handle and our bolt. Admire everything, make sure that your bolt seats, and on surfaces like these, I actually like giving them a really thick coat of oil, and then I'll set it in front of the fire so the heat kind of absorbs some of that oil. I found that actually makes it really, really easy to clean later on. That's just me, again. Everyone has their own way of doing things, but that's just kind of how I do it. I don't know, guys, I'm pretty pumped about this. Alright, so she's built, time to test, and we will see you in part 2.